Welcome to Pubmatarian Podcast.
Thank you for that, announcer guy. And actually, you know what? While you're still here, can you get back into the mic and do me a favor and just say rated R for me?
Rated R starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
Perfect. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, you've got a knack for that. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning into this podcast, you guys. This is episode 2. I had one episode, and then I did the interview with Blue Eye Mafia podcast. And now we're back to episode 2. I was blown away and overwhelmed with the amount of downloads that I had off that first podcast because I was really just winging it and I thought it was shit, honestly. But it was quadruple the amount of downloads that I thought I was going to get. So I was overwhelmed, blown away. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. So let's get right to it. How to stay away from Silicon Valley. This is a topic that's near and dear to me because, like a lot of you out there, I thought that I didn't have a choice as to what I used for social media and what I used for a search engine and just browsing around on the interwebs. And you do have a choice, and I am going to go through it here. One of the first things I'm going to talk about is a search engine. And search engines are very important. If any of you were having Facebook wars back in election 2016, where you were, like me, arguing with your friends and family and kept wikiing articles to fire back at one side, and then they would wiki something and fire back, or using Google, oh man. I've seen videos of them doing side-by-side comparisons of just putting in Hillary and Scandal and seeing what the Google search results were. And there are differences. They would score it between Bing, Google, and other popular search engines just to see what would rank. And Google, and it's widely used. That's the scary part. And Google is known for changing their algorithms to where certain search results do not come to the top. So what I did, if you do have to use Google for whatever reason, I usually ignore the first 5 or 6 search results because it's usually going to be either an ad or just full-on crap. So if you do have to use Google, that's a pro tip. Just skip down 5 or 6 and go from there, or sometimes even go to the next page of search results. But I do try to stay away from Google if I can help it. Google is certainly part of Silicon Valley, and as we know, Silicon Valley is widely in the tank for liberals and the Democrat Party. So a good search engine to use that's my personal favorite is DuckDuckGo. That's D-U-C-K, like whack whack. So DuckDuckGo. That is a search engine like Google, but it's far superior in my humble opinion. And then it also doesn't put a bunch of liberal bullcrap up at the top for search results. It does really good with image searching, videos. It also has good parental restrictions, like it can lock down image and video search results like Google or some of the others can. It actually comes default strict, where if you want to see something that you would consider objectionable, you would have to turn that off. And if any of you follow my Instagram, you know that I am turning that off. But yeah, for my fellow iPhone users, iOS users, it's actually really easy to make the switch. You just go into your settings, and then you scroll down to Safari. And then up at the top, you'll see search and search engine. If you click on search engine, you should see a result there for DuckDuckGo. Click on that and you should be good to go. Then if you go search something on your phone, you're kind of sticking it to the man being Google, and you're using DuckDuckGo instead. Anyway, that's one of my personal favorites. Bing's really not that bad either. I've used Bing before. I avoid Yahoo like the plague. I would not recommend that. Yahoo's even worse than Google, in my humble opinion. So yeah, so that's what I do for search engines. And moving on to web browsers. I was a Mozilla Firefox user for years. That was like my go-to web browser. Internet Explorer is just laughable. Like, if you're a PC user, you know what I'm talking about. It's like the classic meme of all the web browsers standing together going, "What do we want?" And all the web browsers except for Internet Explorer says, "Fast internet." And "When do we want it?" And like they all at varying speeds go, "Now." And then they ask another question and the browser shout it out. And then it goes back to Internet Explorer and he's still going, "Web browsers." And that's pretty much spot on for Internet Explorer. So Mozilla was like my go-to forever. I used it forever. And then their CEO, Brendan Eich, had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to give $1,000 to a California proposition that was going to prohibit same-sex marriage. And that was back in 2014. I mean, the nerve of this guy, taking his own money and using it for what he wanted to use it for. So Mozilla was not happy about that. And he was gone after that. So in true American pioneer spirit fashion, Brendan said F you and started his own browser called Brave. And that's what I've been using ever since that. And Brave, Brave. It's a good web browser. It doesn't have all the gobbledygook that some of the others do. And then what's really good about it, especially for us conservatives, it does a really good job of blocking ads and malware. Even when you load up the homepage, if you set Brave to your homepage, it'll let you know how good of a job it's doing. Kind of like, hey, look at me. It'll say, hey, I've blocked this many ads since the last time you've logged on. I've done this, I've done that. But it's super lightweight, really easy to use. The only con I have for using Brave, if you're doing any kind of banking or whatnot, or if you're logging into secure sites, sometimes it does a little too good a job to where it thinks everything is malware. And there's like one on my banking websites, it doesn't do a good job of loading it. So I do have to switch over to Internet Explorer for that. But anything else, there's a little slider at the top of the window that you just click it off, and it's called Shields Down. That will turn all of its little ad blocker features off. You can use that website however you want to, and then as soon as you log or click out, the shields go back up. So it's nothing that you have to remember. So Brave is my go-to as far as web browsers go. And now on to Wikipedia. Who doesn't use Wikipedia? That's also really handy for arguments. Unfortunately for Wikipedia, it's guilty of everything else on the internet. It's subjective to who is proofreading the article and who made the last entry. Wikipedia can have liberal biases and some left leanings. There's a lot of other sites out there that you can use besides Wikipedia. One of the most entertaining ones that I've been using instead is called Infogalactic. And it's basically Wikipedia, except it looks like the people that made the site just really liked Star Trek. But you'll get serious search results, and they do a good job of policing it. There are so many wiki alternatives out there. I could spend the rest of the podcast talking about it. If you try to do a Google or a DuckDuckGo search for different online encyclopedias like Wikipedia, you'll get a lot of stuff that will pretty much just take you in the same left-leaning direction. So I would stay away from anything that it's telling you, like on mainstream sites that are Wikipedia alternatives. But Infogalactic is a good one. I'm trying to think of a couple others. I did not have this written down because literally there's just so many. But the lesson learned here is to just stay away from Wikipedia if you're worried about that. If you know how to do your homework and research and navigate, Wikipedia is not really that bad. So Infogalactic's not like a must-have, but they do a better job at policing and making sure that they are, in the middle of the aisle, so to speak. Oh, and there goes the beer fridge kicking on. Well, if it comes between really good audio and cold beer, I'm going to pick cold beer every time. But anyway, on to social media is the next thing we're going to talk about here. And everybody is on social media. It affects all ages. So what do we do to protect ourselves on the social medias? How do we find like-minded people? Or where do we go that's just not straight up cancer? So step one of that is to just stay off of Twitter. I'm just not going to endorse Twitter at all. I mean, I am on Twitter at Publitarian if you want to follow me, but I really don't go on there a whole lot. The problem with Twitter is, well, it's the problem with all social media, but for whatever reason, specifically Twitter, and I was talking about this in the Blue Eye Mafia podcast, you just want to fist fight somebody as soon as you get on there. It's just super reactionary. Somebody says something, you get social justice triggered, and you just want to punch right back. And it's not good for your soul. And I tend to just stay off of it. And one of the hugest mistakes you can make is getting on Twitter at night. You're getting ready to go to bed, you're getting on Twitter, you're going to find some just liberal bots that are just trolling and trying to get you worked up. So yeah, Twitter is just freaking cancer. I would stay off of it. Unless it's to follow superior Twitter accounts like my own, at Publitarian. Plug number 2 for that. So yeah, no Twitter. What else? Obviously, I endorse Instagram because that's how I got my start. And I am going to touch on other social medias that are very conservative leaning, but they are an echo chamber. So if you go there and you just want to feel good and have everybody amen your thoughts, then yeah, those are going to be sites to go, and I'll go through those. But Instagram, a lot of conservative accounts, libertarian accounts, just Trump fans. I see all the time the ones with the larger followings get what's called shadow banned, where the powers that be are just going in and making your followers not see your posts. And it's a big problem. And Facebook has been called out for it. Obviously, Zuckerberg has been having to testify because of that. Zuck the cuck. And Diamond and Silk testified before a congressional panel about it. So it's starting to get exposed. It's, the curtain has been thrown back, and we're seeing it for what it is. But yeah, so Instagram can do that, but I haven't personally been affected by it, with except a couple of, Muslim shit posts that have gotten pulled. But I mean, I was expecting that. So I still think Instagram is safe. That's where you're going to get a lot of eyeballs, and you can participate with diversity of thought. But, the shadow banning is out there, and it can happen to you. But it's not as bad as Facebook would be. And I deleted my Facebook recently, going through all the Zuckerberg stuff that happened, where it's like blatantly obvious that they were doing what they were doing. Yes, I do know that Instagram is owned by Facebook as well, but for whatever reason, it doesn't suffer the same issues that Facebook does. So I do not have a Facebook anymore. Publitarian Podcast does keep one just so I can do business stuff on Instagram, but I'm rarely on it, and I don't do anything on it, and I'm happier for it. There's another alternative for a social media. This one I'm not that big a fan of, but I'm going to mention it anyway. It's called gab.ai. That's gab.ai. G-A-B, like gift of gab.ai. I have tried using this one. It's a pretty cool platform. It's kind of like Twitter-esque, except you can upvote like Reddit. It is very much free speech. Like it does not get policed. But the problem is, and I was talking about this on the Blue Eye Mafia podcast as well, is that it has been so not policed that, how we get accused of being alt-right and Nazis and bigots and sexists, racists, homophobes. Well, that's what I see on gab.ai. And I am publitarian on there, and you're welcome to download the app and follow me on there. But whenever I log into Gab, all I see is just anti-Semitic, just crap. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be on here or not. I know the fabulous faggot known as Milo, who I'm a huge Milo fan. I know that he is on there and he still posts. But yeah, so if you want to use Gab, I am on there, but I just try and stay away. Another one that's popular that's coming up is called Convo, C-O-M as in Mary, V as in Victor, O, Convo. That is, you can post like Instagram, post pictures, post videos, and you can also do audio of yourself. The only problem I see with that one really is there's not really a whole bunch of customer service there. I had a couple of issues with the app where it was bucking out, and sent a message to them directly and still have yet to hear back from it. You do not get censored. You're free to post whatever you want. It's kind of like Instagram. You can put pictures up, video up. The interface is a little clunky, and I do feel like I'm kind of preaching to the converted when I'm on there, but it's pretty solid for what it is. So I don't have a problem with that. That's Convo. The next one we have is Minds, M-I-N-D-S, Minds. That's the one that I've got the least amount of experience with. So far it looks like the most solid one. I have seen a pretty good diversity of thought on there, and I'll be putting all these links in my show notes as well if you want to check them out for yourself, because I can't remember if Minds is minds.org or minds.net. That one looks like it's a pretty even playing field. A similar system. It's kind of like got the best of all the social medias put together. There's even some kind of monetizing system with it, but I haven't dug that far into it to find out. And that's pretty much it for like the top tier social medias. There's another one called Vero, I think it's called, but as soon as I saw where the money was coming from to be for funding that, I didn't really want to take part in that. And I also hear there's a new version of Vine out, but I haven't heard good things about that either. So those are the ones I'm going to cover on social media. And just use your own judgment on those. And then as far as researching information, this is a big one because it is the internet, and you can find some kind of article, some kind of link, some kind of fact-checking site that will prove that you are right and the other person is wrong. And the only really good, easy answer I have for this is you just have to do your own homework. Snopes, I know people used Snopes a lot back in the day. Go ahead and use Snopes for urban legends. Just something grandma told you or something that you thought may have been true or not true. They're pretty safe to use for that. And even that site Snopes used to be run by a husband and wife team, the Mickelsons. Yeah, they were left leaning, but I would still, listen to what they had to say when they were debunking articles. But the more and more political they got, I started seeing that they started hiring on writers. And their writers are just total what you would expect from mainstream journalists. They're just all like left-leaning shills that are out there just peddling their opinion. And they are famous for putting false at the top. If something is indeed true or there's multiple facets of it, they'll just go ahead and deem it false and move on. So Snopes maybe for urban legends, but yeah, I really wouldn't look at that. PolitiFact is just another one it's left leaning. You really have to do your homework. There are right wing sources out there that are horrible or that are clickbait. Young Cons is one of them. They do a lot of just like clickbait that's not true or half truths. So there's no real easy answer, even though I said the easy answer was such. There isn't. The easy answer is there is no easy answer. You've just got to do your homework. And that's what I encourage anybody to do before they start firing back with supposed facts, to nuke the other side. Make sure that you have done your homework. Fact check multiple sources. Use that DuckDuckGo engine that we talked about and really dig into it. Because both sides of the aisle are guilty of not doing their homework. They've become very reactionary. Both sides have. Like, we just want to react quickly. If we see a bite of news, we just want to be the first person to comment, the first person to weigh in, rather than just waiting a beat and seeing all the facts that come in. And like I said, both are guilty of doing that. They'll latch onto whatever fits their ideology rather than the truth. And I am a truthist above anything else, above any ideology that I have. I want to be told the truth, and I want to tell the truth. I'd rather be told a hurtful truth than sweet lies. And that's just how I am, and I think that's how we need to be in this society. But anyway, I digress. I had another fun thing I was going to do for this podcast, but unfortunately I am out of time. So I am going to move that over to episode number 3. And I do not have a title for episode 3 yet, but it will be coming out soon. Feel free to subscribe at Instagram. I am Publitarian on Instagram. I am Publitarian pretty much on all the social medias. You can go to my podcast page and leave a comment there, or you can DM me on Instagram. Like I said, I do have the Facebook and the other, but it's rare that I check it. But yeah, feel free to do so, and you guys have a great rest of the day. Until next time, see ya.
Listening to Publitarian Podcast. Copyright 2018.